In our insane quest to hit $100 an hour in 100 hours of low-stakes poker, we've had our ups and downs. Through the first 6 episodes, I've made $3,889.56 and a half hours, putting our total at a solid $69 an hour. As always, we're here at the Fort to play 2 action-packed sessions, so let's buy in for $1,000 at the 1-3 table and jump right into the hands. We start off the session with $1,000 and play back-to-back bomb pots where I make a flush and then quad, so my stack is up to around $1,500 at this point when I look down at Queen 9 of Hearts. I 3-betted up to $45 over a $15 open, and then something strange happens when the opponent 4-bets to $90. It's a cold 4-bet, but he doesn't look like he meant to actually do that. When he put out his chips, it looked more like he was trying to call, not knowing exactly how much I had. I'm not going to take too much stock into that. I'm in position the rest of the way here if I call, so that's what I decided to do. And when we flop top pair on a Queen 8-7 board with 2 clubs, there's $200 in the middle, and the opponent shoves all in for around $210. Not much thinking here. When you make top pair, you gotta go with it. If he has a better hand like king, queen, kings, or aces, well, we're just screwed, but I think we can beat a lot of hands here. I put in the call, and we're off to 5 cards. The turn comes to 5 of spades, river, 8 of diamonds. The big blind shows pocket jacks, $616 coming my way, minus a tip for the great dealer for his hard work. We are 3 for 3 on this session, and it's still only early days.
Okay, well, here's the deal, then. Here's the deal. If I go all in and you bust me, I'll pull $100 out of my pocket. But if I didn't go all in and you call and I win, I get my
No,
I've never done that before. Many people have asked to buy him. I've never done it, but this guy's name is literally Wolfie. I gotta do it with Wolfie.
We win yet another not so interesting bomb pot, but still, our chip stack is going north. And then we find ourselves in one of the hands of the session. I look down at pocket kings. The $10 button straddle is out there. There's a few callers. I make it $65 to go, and 2 players continue to put more money in the middle. This is a dream situation. We have the Cowboys. We're in Texas at our home card room, and Mudkip is pretty stoked about this situation. But then the button Wolfie jams all in for $485. Now you might be thinking, Wolfgang, what is going on here? Just put the money in the middle. And of course, I'm gonna do so, but there's a side bet with Wolfie where if he doubles up through me, I give him Mudkip. And if I stack him, or he leaves before I stack him, like his wife texts him and he has to go home, I get $100. It seems like a pretty easy decision. I put $485 in the middle, and the player to my left calls for less, $315. We lose our 4-way, which means we're going 3 ways to a run out, and 2 other players are all in. No more action. We need to hold here. This is a massive pot for the 100-hour challenge, but of course the flop comes ace 8-4. It's ace high. Now we're losing to any pair of aces. The turn comes to 6 of diamonds, and Wolfie immediately turns over 6s. What a disaster situation.
Mudkip, bring it here. Oh, but I got you. Give me Mudkip. Give me Mudkip.
Damn it. So yeah, not only do we lose to a set of 6s, but we lost to ace 10 of diamonds, which made top pair, and then rivered a flush. So $1,400 going his way. There's a little side pot for Wolfie, but more than that, he takes down Mudkip. Don't fret, you guys, though. I have a bunch of Mudkips. I think I have 2 or 3 more.
I don't know what to say.
All right, I'm seeing red after losing that pot and my card protector. There's a raise to $20 over a $6 straddle, and I decide just to call here with a ace 5 of hearts. You easily could be putting in a 3-bet, but instead, I just come in for that smooth call, and we see a pretty groovy flop when it comes 8-3 deuce with 2 hearts. Actions on Wolfie, and with Mudkip in his stack, he's feeling pretty good, and he fires out for $45, but I have high hopes of getting a lot of chips back back here. Billy is in the box dealing over there, which means I'm probably gonna win this hand, and I put in the call. The turn pairs the board, coming the 3 of diamonds, and Wolfie continues to bet for $100. I could decide to raise now. Any 4 gives me the wheel, and ace gives me a top pair, and a heart obviously gives me the nut flush. Instead, I decide just to call, which seems pretty strong as well. Maybe he'll shut down on some rivers, and I could check back and win at showdown, or I could go for a bluff, but instead he goes for a massive bet, which I can't hold on for any longer. I fold, and he turns over the jack. So Wolfie is 2 for 2 against me, which brings us into this next hand. When I have $1,100 in my stack in the small blind, there's an open to 20 from Patrick, a call from Heath. I 3-bet it with 7-6 of spades. Patrick folds, Heath calls, and we're off to a flop, which gives me nothing on a queen deuce deuce board. There's 175 in the middle, and I decide to go for a bet here and put Heath to the test for Cinco de Mayo. If he has an ace high, king high type of hand, in theory he's supposed to call, but who knows if he does at a large frequency. So I decide to put him to the test here, put some money in the middle, and he does in fact call. But the turn now brings a scare card to any queen or pocket pair like 10s, 9s, or 8s. It's the king of clubs. I think if I continue to bet here, it's going to be hard for him to hold on. He might even fold a flush draw if I bet large enough here. I go $155, and Heath goes into the tank for a while. He goes into the tank for a while here, thinking about what to do, and I'm just praying that he folds, and eventually he does. He folds ace 10 of hearts. We get it through here. 7-6 was dominated. All right, I have my favorite hand here. The straddle's on for 10. I make it 30. We got a call to the player to my left, and will the straddler call? No. Hand is not good enough to put an extra 20 bucks in. Oscar, what are you doing? We're off to a flop here with my favorite hand, so you know we are going to flop a set. It just always comes. Ace, king, 7, bang, we flop bottom set. $74 in the middle. I could go for a check raise, or I could just bet here, unblocking any ace or king. I bet out for Cinco de Mayo, and the player to my left, Jose, puts in the call. The turn brings another club. I think I need to keep betting in case he has a club in his hand. There's $184 in the middle. How large do you go here? I decided to do $125, charging any pair, any club draw, any straight draw like queen 10, queen jack, etc. But Jose cannot hold on any longer. He folds.
Yeah, so my wife, we're a huge anime. This is Tokito. She asked me to give up. She's in the host of the name of the video. There she is. There it is.
We were in for $1,000, out for $1,119 for a profit of $119 in 4 hours and 18 minutes to be exact. We head over to the cage and get into some shenanigans with my buddy TJ and Filmer Hunter.
I'm like that guy at the strip club that goes and picks up all the ones when no one's looking. Not that I've ever been to a strip club. I definitely was one of those.
You wouldn't know what to do with yourself in a strip club.
That's what I did at the strip club.
But don't worry, we have another action-packed session for you guys. I head back over to the fort not too long after, and I buy in for another $1,000 at this 1-3, 75% match the stack game, and get right after it from the cutoff with ace-king offsuit, where I 3-bet a $15 open. If you look at the table, it's a little bit short-handed here, which I love, because we're going to see a lot of hands, and players are incentivized to get in there with some pretty mediocre hands. I think my edge at this table is going to be pretty big. We get a cold call for the 45, another one, and then the $15 raiser calls as well. We're going 4 ways to the flop, which comes 5-4 deuce with 2 clubs. I have a gut shot to the wheel. I have a backdoor flush draw. I decide to check. The action checks through, giving me top pair on the turn when it comes the king of spades. $181 in the middle, and the opponent in the big blind leads out for $125 bucks. I think this is a no-brainer call. I toss in 2 chips, and the opponent on the button calls as well. Does he have a flush draw? Does he have a straight draw? Does he have a pair? We're gonna find out. We don't love the river when it comes to jack of clubs, and even more so when the opponent in the big blind now jams for $650. He's obviously not scared of the flush. flush, or at least that's what he wants to tell us. I have an opponent behind me, which puts me in a really gross spot, and anytime I'm on the fence between calling and folding and I'm not closing the action, meaning the guy in the button still has action behind, I'm gonna lean towards folding. I know I block some flushes here, but it's just not the best spot. I'm gonna live to fight another day here and fold my cards. I don't love seeing the button snap fold after me. If he wasn't behind, I probably convinced myself to call, and it would have been good for half the pot when the big blind says he had ace of hearts, king of clubs. So he just went for value with top pair. He was blocking some flushes just like I was, but this just shows how aggression can win some pots, and even though you go with your read, sometimes it's gonna be wrong. We're still short-handed. Let's battle with 9, 7 of hearts as an open to 15. I 3-bet it to 55, and we're gonna get 2 callers. Off to a flop 3 ways, which gives me a pair of 7s on a king jack 7 board. We also have a backdoor flush draw. I start with a check, and the action checks through, bringing the turn, which gives me a straight draw, a flush draw, a lot of good stuff here, and I'm gonna bet it to the tune of $90. It's the 10 of hearts, an action card. Will we get any action in terms of some calls? And yes, the hijack is going to raise me now 3 black chips. That's $300. Action's back over to me. When I pick up all these outs on the turn, of course, I'm going absolutely nowhere. I toss in a few black chips of my own, and we are going to see a river in a nice sized pot here of almost $750, and it comes a 7 of clubs. Bang! We river 3 of a kind. A pretty disguised, very strong hand here, but what is our opponent raising us on the turn with? Does he have queen 9, ace queen? Does he have a set of kings, jacks, 10s, something like that? Maybe even a full house now. Jack 7 or 10-7 would easily raise the turn, only to fill up on the river. With 766 in the middle, I check it over to him. He jams for 800. I think about it for a little while. Of course, he could have some hands that have me beat, but at the end of the day, we're playing shorthanded. I have a disguised 3 of a kind. Maybe he's bluffing, and I have him smoked. So I put in the call, and he turns over 6-7 offsuit. So we played a $2,400 pot, and we're gonna chop it. If only that 10 of hearts was the deuce, 3, 4, 5 of spades, something like that, we would have won the pot, but instead we're chopping it with the opponent over there in the hijack. Nice hand, sir. Nice hand. After that last hand, I want to get deep with the table. There's a ton of black chips on the table, and I pull out an additional $1,000. So we're in for 2K at this point. I have 2,100 in my stack, and let's play a hand here with pocket 10s. I open it up to 15 and get a few callers, and by a few, I mean 8. We are going 8 ways to a flop here. This is what we call Texas heads up. The action is great, and if you guys haven't played out here before, it's definitely something special, not what I was used to when I lived in California or Chicago. The flop comes ace queen 4, and given the fact there's 2 overcards and it's extremely multi-way still, I'm going to start with a check, and the action checks through. So the turn comes the 8 of spades. The action checks all the way around to my homie over there with the Nike shirt who bets out for $100, and it folds around to me. Interesting spot here. I probably should just let the hand go, but I know he's capable of bluffing, so I'm going to call him one time and see what happens. We're going to pick up one additional caller.
Sorry, I thought those were supposed to.
I didn't touch my cards.
I didn't touch my cards.
3 players.
And the river now comes the 7 of spades. I check, the opponent who called the 100 checks, and now let's see what Mr. Bluffy Pants over there is going to do. He decides to check behind. Interesting, interesting. I kind of was hoping he would, although if he went for another bet, something was telling me that this guy was bluffing, but when he checks behind and no one says they have a pair, I turn over the 10s, get a snap fold from the dude in the middle, and the guy who bet $100 folds his cards as well. So a great read by me there on the turn, getting a little bit sticky, and I feel like this pot shouldn't have been mine.
All right, I'm here with Jungleman, one of the funniest guys in poker. And speaking of funny, I'm trying to make $100 an hour playing 1-3 in Texas. Do you think that's possible for a player like me?
You can do it short term, for sure. Long term, good luck with that. You'll be really the best 1-3 player.
If I do it, I'll be one of the best players in the world, so I'm going to prove it to you guys. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Quite the opposite in the next hand, where I pick up pocket aces, the Sharp Tops, American Airlines, and I definitely think this pot should be mine. There's an open to 20. I 3-bet it to $75, and we're gonna pick up 2 callers. The straddler Heath gets out of the way. The flop is pretty great. It comes King 7-3 with 2 diamonds. When the action's on me, I'm gonna go for a 2/3 pot size bet here into my 2 opponents and make it $155 to go. We get called from the big blind, but the other player folds, which means we're heads up to the turn, which comes the 8 of hearts. He checks it over to me. I go for a chunky bet here. I want to charge any king that definitely can't fold, and this opponent is not folding for any size if he has a flush draw, so I go $400, and unfortunately he lets his hand go, so he definitely didn't have a king, and we're taking down $1,000 in that nice 3-way pot. This next hand's a little bit funky. I make it $30 from under the gun over a $10 straddle. This is a little bit too loose, I think. You just kind of want to fold ace-10 offsuit, but that's what I decided to do. I open it up, and immediately we get punished with a 3-bet to 125. Action's back over to me. Let's look at our opponent who 3-bet us. He is action, so I'm going to give him a little bit of action. I also don't mind just folding here. This is kind of what happens when you get yourself into this predicament. Like if you have king-jack offsuit or ace-10 offsuit or ace-7 offsuit, like you should just be folding under the gun and you don't find yourself in these weird spots. Action's back over to the button straddle who puts in the call. We're going 3 ways to the flop, and we have top pair on an ace-jack 3 rainbow board. Action checks over to the button, and he goes for a $225 bet. We have no idea where we're at in the hand. He was on the button and didn't decide to raise. He just called the 3-bet, so it's unlikely he has ace-king or ace-queen, I think. He also shouldn't have aces or jacks, but we're going to call it one time. We have top pair. Let's see where we're at, and the turn comes a 7 of spades, $829 in the middle, and he bets out for $325. So we're in no man's land now. He has the button range. He could have ace jack, makes some sense. He could have pocket 3s. Other than that, I'm not exactly too sure what he's betting flop, and now continuing on the turn. I think he could bet flop with king queen and king 10 of like spades and diamonds. I think both of those hands would shut down on this turn. So I'm gonna give him respect here and fold my cards. Ace king in this spot, so ace king of clubs is going to be very good there. I'm surprised he didn't go for a 4-bet pre-flop, but it just shows that these low stakes games, people wait to make their hand as opposed to putting a ton of money in pre-flop. So all right, moving on, I need to play a little bit tighter pre-flop, and I open it up here with ace 4 of hearts from the cutoff. We get 1 call to our left, and then 3-bet to $75, and the player to his left calls the 75. Action's back over to me. Am I going to listen to myself about playing a little bit more tight and disciplined pre-flop? No, I go for the extreme route here of 4-betting to $300, and you might be saying, Wolfgang, what's the logic here? Well, I opened up the 15, there was a call. The button's a good player, and he might be going for a squeeze to 75, and then the guy who just called to his left, that's just super weak. He's never doing that with aces, kings, king, queen suited, ace, king suited. So if I 4-bet here, my range is still uncapped, meaning I can have all the best hands. I can probably get a lot of folds from the small blind who's squeezing and the big blind as well, but unfortunately it looks like we ran into it in this situation. When he 5-bets to $1,000, we lose the big blind, and of course I'm going absolutely nowhere with ace 4 of hearts. A few more hands to go here. Let's stay disciplined, rack up some hours and some profit. There's a $15 raise. I 3-betted to $45 from the button, and the small blind who goes by Sam Kaiso, you guys might know him on YouTube. He makes great videos. He plays at the lodge a bunch. He makes it $160. I immediately touch his chips. I'm trying to tilt him, see what his raise size is. Went for a nice little 4x. I like the size there, Sam. I could go for a 5-bet, but I also could just call and play in position with Sam. We are pretty deep, and that's what I decided to do, and I love it. When the flop comes ace 8-5 with 1 diamond, Sam's gonna go for a c-bet here, out of position. He's in a very tough spot. I'm going absolutely nowhere. I'm never gonna raise here. I'm either way ahead or I'm behind one hand exactly, which is aces. So I put in the call, and the turn comes the 5 of hearts. When he checks it over to me, it's unlikely he has an ace at this point. I think he most likely at best has like kings, queens, jacks, something like that. I want to go for a small bet here. I don't think he could fold 1 time to that bet size. And he does fold. So he obviously didn't have anything too great, but maybe I made the vlog. So a little bit of vlog equity there. $746 coming my way.
Imagine beating someone and they're on a phone call with Chase.
It's so easy.
I beat you and I'm talking with a
flop
Chase representative
top
about
pair,
fraud
dude.
right now. How crazy is that?
If you guys like my vlog and want to help support, look across the table. My buddy Andrew's been wearing one of my hats. It's my Wolfgang hat in tan. Go to shopwolfgang.com to help support and rock some pretty cool merch. Very high quality. All right, the $6 straddle's on. I raise it up to 20. There's a call, and Andrew now 3-bets to $75. He's feeling great in that Wolfgang hat. I put in the call, and the other player does as well. We're going 3 ways to the flop, and it comes queen, 10, 9, bang! We flop the straight. Andrew, how are you feeling now? He bets out for $85. I obviously just put in the call, and we lose our 3-way. Sam Queso on my left is getting some sick B-roll of the hand. Little does he know, I just flopped the nuts, basically. The turn is obviously not great. Now we're losing to king, queen, 10 king, ace king makes a lot of sense. And when Andrew continues to bet for $175, we don't love it, but I have a straight, and a straight is a hard hand to make. So I'm gonna call here and see what he does on the river, which comes the 3 of hearts. I check it over to Andrew, eager for him to check behind. Hopefully we can get the showdown and win it. And he says he has a queen, ace queen offsuit to be exact. I tell him I have the 8. He doesn't understand that's a straight, but then everyone tells him it is. All right, $6 straddle again. I look down at ace 7 of diamonds. I make it $35 to go. And Sam Queso now 3-bets me to $85. I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. In the other hand, he made a great 4-bet sizing, and this one, it's a terrible 3-bet sizing. Why are we going min raise here, Sam? We definitely got to go a little bit larger, somewhere around 110 to 130. Of course, I'm going to put in the call when you go way too small. I'm just getting great odds to call and flop a good hand. I don't really have a great hand here, though, on a 10-8-5 board, although I think this favors me over him. He's definitely going to be 3-betting with pocket 10s. I think he's going to be calling with 8s, and he goes for a $60 C-bet. Of course, I'm going to put in the call. I could also go for a raise. That would be pretty nice, but when the turn comes a 6 of spades, I now want to go for a check raise, or could I go for a lead? When you're reading the board and thinking about what to do, you always want to think about who has the advantage on this board. So what is the nuts here? The nuts is 9-7. If you look at my hand, I have a 7, so I'm blocking that. Do I think Sam is going to be 3-betting me pre-flop with 9-7? Not too often, which means I'm going to go for a bet here, telling him that I'm going to have more of the 2 pairs, more of the sets, and of course more of the straights. And I go $255, to which we get a snap fold, and I show the table.
I see the bluff or no? Yeah?
And specifically, Sam, that we got one through there. He said we were good, so I don't really understand what hand he had. Probably some king high, queen high type of hand. But that's going to end it for session number 2. So we're going to book a nice little profit here of $575. We rack up our chips, head over to the cage, and notice that we played for 6 hours and 17 minutes. I was in for 2K, out for $25.75. So now we are up to $4,583 worth of profit, officially 2/3 of the way done with the challenge, a total of 67 hours played, and we have around $68 an hour. Obviously, that's great. $68 an hour. I'm sure all of you guys watching would love to have that over a large sample size, but my goal is $100 an hour, in which case, if I'm playing another 33 hours, I'm gonna need to have way over $100 an hour for that last bit in order to hit my goal. There's a few videos on your screen right now. Click one of those to keep on watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, go to shopwolfgang.com to get some merch, and click the link down below to get in with my coach and get into that new boot camp that's coming out very soon. I'll catch you guys as always in the next video. Peace.